other brand of flour that seems to work really well with this recipe is gold bread flour. King Arthur is really dense. I wouldn't use it. I would just try to find this. It's in every like grocery store. So this recipe calls for 5 pounds less 2 cups. So I usually just put it in. I'm gonna actually add it to this other bag because I started. There's nothing in there earlier.
I already had a lot of flour on the floor earlier this morning. Don't worry about it.
Water or flour?
I had flour before the water.
All right, so I'm just removing 2 cups.
Wait, so you pour 2 full bags in?
No.
No, I did 1 before, so like we'll go. This is going to take 1.5 hours to 2 hours to rise,
of course.
but we'll go straight to the dough once it's mixed. Okay, it's 2 cups of sugar. So
I'm sorry, I missed something. You put the 5-pound bag in and then took 2 cups out.
I did.
Okay.
It's 5 pounds less 2 cups.
Okay.
So I'm gonna add 2 cups of sugar. You can do as little as 1. It's just not as sweet. And I mean, I've done it and it doesn't mess up the consistency for some reason. So already,
I've never done
we're not
it before.
exactly Linda Citron approved
You
here, but
different sugars,
it'll
or
be
you
okay.
only used white sugar?
I've never used a different sugar.
Okay.
It calls for 1.5 tablespoons of salt. You just want regular table salt. I don't know, whatever this is. It doesn't matter. Just not sea salt and not kosher salt.
Is it 2 tablespoons?
1.5 tablespoons.
What is the difference between the kosher salt is thicker and it's definitely a lot thicker.
So it's going to be a lot saltier.
Yeah.
Right? You
Okay.
have to cut the salt.
So my whole thing when I was
Unless it
learning
calls
to
for
make
it.
bread by hand, the person who taught me was really big on mixing all the dry first. So get the sugar and the salt like all the way mixed in.
So it's even.
Every single challah recipe I see, I make like this. No matter what it says to do, even if it calls for a bread machine, I would just take all the dry ingredients and I would mix them first, and then I would add the wet ingredients. I'm going to show you in a minute, but when you're adding the wet ingredients, it's important to save the oil for last. So this is pretty mixed. I mean, it doesn't have to be, there's no, I don't know, mix it 10 times. There's no perfect right or wrong. Some people use a really big fork. I brought my spoon from home because I just like my spoon. So, okay. So it takes 3 eggs. Because we keep kosher, we want to make sure there's no blood in the egg. So I usually just break them into a glass. And it is a bummer. Usually people go 1 at a time, but I just take a chance that the 3rd egg doesn't have blood in it and you don't have to.
How often do you
Waste
see
all
an
3
egg with
eggs.
blood in it?
Hardly ever. Well, actually, you see it a lot in brown eggs. Much more brown.
Interesting. I saw
But,
it for the first time the other day when I was
really?
at school.
It's a little bit freaky. It's a really,
We went like back to our family.
yeah, it's bright red. Like you can't.
I've never seen it before.
Okay, you want to go ahead and, you don't need like a whisker. You can just do it with a fork. Just mix it up really well. Takes 1.5 cups of oil. So the 3 wet ingredients are 3 eggs, 4 cups of water activated with the yeast, and 1.5 cups of oil. So
Canola?
yeah, just regular. That's 1.5 cups. This seems like so much.
It does.
No, it's because it's wide.
Are you looking at the other side, Michelle? What side are you looking at? One.
It looks right to me. Yeah, I'm seeing the 1.5
What's the
cup.
difference? I'm looking at.
Well, I don't know what the measurements are, and maybe it's a different measurement on the other side.
It's
But
because it's so spread
Michelle,
out.
that looks like. Can we do that again somewhere with another cup?
I'm looking. It's one. Yeah.
I'm at 1.5 right here.
I think it must just be the
I'm
the
at
measuring
1.5 on
ball.
both
Like the
sides.
thing just looks.
12 ounces. That's right. Okay.
It must be a thick bottom.
Maybe it's a thick glass.
Here. I want you guys to see the yeast. I'll bring it over here. You're not gonna hurt it or anything. You can pick it up. See how it's kind of bubbling?
Yeah.
The whole thing is bubbling now. All you need is like 1 bubble. You just need some reassurance that it's gonna work when you add it in.
Okay. Smells great.
Okay, so I usually take my 1 cup measuring cup. Mom.
I don't know, Michelle. Where is it? It's behind you. It's behind you next to the
Okay.
towel.
So I make like a little, a big hole in the middle here. Just kind of gives me an even place to pour all the liquid in. I pour this in.
So you don't mix that up. You just pour it in there.
Nah, it's just water and yeast. Just kind of scrape the sides. The thing about making this by hand is you can't really mess it up. There's nothing, it's not like an exact science. I mean, you could leave a little bit of yeast in there. It's not going to matter, which should be a little bit comforting. I don't know, maybe not. Okay, so then I would basically mix this until it gets hard to mix, and then I add the oil. And then I almost always pretty much switch to my hands and finish the kneading by hand. This is kind of just starting the kneading process, but I've got the spoon. And it gets really hard. Like, it gets to the point where...
we haven't put in is the oil yet.
Right.
Correct.
It gets to the point where you can't...
I know, I'm not good.
Do you want to feel it? Do you want to...
Embarrassing myself over here right now.
If you want to try to mix it?
That's why you need a thick wooden spoon.
So if you were to use a bread maker, at what point would you?
You
Use
just
the
put
bread
all
maker.
these ingredients into the bread maker, and it
So
gives
you
you
just-
the dough.
Do you have
Okay.
it?
So
Yeah.
you don't have to do this, but it's...
I've never used it.
I like it's sometimes the dough is really sticky and hard to work with, so I find it easier to knead by hand with gloves on. But once you start wearing gloves, you like want them for everything, so I just caution you against that.
So it really only takes out the step of mixing with your.
Yeah, and then you have to clean the bread maker, and when you do it like this, you still have to mix and measure, but all you have to do is clean the bowl here. So I would pour the oil in last, and then you're going to be able to mix it a few more times with the spoon, and then you're going to have to switch to your hand. If it's too sticky, you can add more flour. If it's too dry, I would start by adding a little bit more oil. Don't add more water. All right. I just like to work with my hands. It's just easier. It's just a matter of, this is going to finish it.
Are there some yeast that you have to leave for like a longer period of time? I feel like one time I made this with like Lila and she like left it,
I mean, you could leave it for a little while.
but
It's
we don't
just-
have to.
No.
Okay.
Sometimes I even go sooner than that. Like, that was really frothed for yeast for me. I never have.
You don't usually wait that long?
I think like a few weeks ago, I came home at 4:42 and Erica left at 5. Erica leaves at 5. And I was like, I'm going to get this put up before you leave. So I was like, quick, get me all the dry stuff. And
So you did really
she loves to watch.
Water and everything.
Yeah.
Demand.
It was she left at 5 o'clock.
I feel like we waited. Yeah, like we waited.
Oh, the one time I came over there later. Yeah.
All right, Mom, turn the heat back down to 17.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just kind of scraping the sides as I go.
I think she also uses, she doesn't wait for her dough to rise.
Who?
Yeah, we took a really long break.
Maybe you did. It's the best.
I'm famous for it in my own mind.
All right. As you keep on kneading, the idea is kind of, this is actually a perfect dough. It doesn't usually, it's not always that you don't need flour or oil, but this actually might be a little bit sticky, which is when it tastes better. But because I have my hands in gloves, I'm not, like if my hands weren't in gloves, I would be probably pulling dough out. So I don't know how many times you would need it, probably 50 to 100. And then I would flip it and see there's like little holes. Just little, I mean, you just keep going until it looks more smooth. You're never gonna get all the air holes out. It's impossible. And you don't have to.
Now I know how to do this. This is work.
What?
Work.
But it's really not.
You've done it as many times as you've done it.
I know, but when I first started,
second nature
when we were in
to you.
Israel, I used to have my cousin come all the way across town, like a 45-minute bus ride, and just stand there next to me so that I would like, wasn't, you know, so if I was gonna mess up, she would tell me. And then one day I was like, okay, I don't really need you anymore. I don't think this is that hard.
Was that sorry?
Yeah.
And how many does this make? What
This
it
is
on
gonna
the
make
video?
like 6 good-sized loaves.
Oh my god.
I would use 2 of these loaves for 16 people. Cut it down the middle and cut it in slices, and people
Wait, you
don't.
said that'll make 2 loaves?
So you can feel it.
6. 6 loaves?
I might need it a little. Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, that's the same amount. I might make a little bit more. I might need a little bit more, but you can stop here. See, it's not going to be perfectly smooth. But you could turn it
Stop
over
it
a
for
few
a
more
minute.
times.
Yeah, turn it on.